Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we're live. Chatters, YouTube, Twitch, appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. We're going to be dumping. Yeah, we're going to dump the dumpy into the v0.17.3 update patch notes that just came out. I skimmed it a little bit earlier at work. I'm posting this like a day after, and yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Drop a like on the video, subscribe for future predecessor content, all that good stuff. Yeah, v0.17.3. This one kind of slid under the radar that we weren't going straight into v0.18, so I think that some people were like really looking forward to the next big patch, and that one got shoved back a little bit. So unfortunately, we are at .17.3. So let's take a look at it. Introduction. Greetings, champions. As we forge our path further into open beta, we're excited to share that v0.18 is shaping up to perhaps one of the biggest patches of all time. I'm going to be honest, they got to stop saying this. Like, to me, like every time the next patch is the biggest one of all time, I think it just kind of loses its flavor to keep telling us that the next one is the biggest of all time, even if it's like literal. I don't know. I don't want to hear this all the time personally. I think that it's kind of like losing its losing its touch for me. So I don't know. Personally, it's just a little qualm I have. We're going to go along and learn more about the behemoth of an update. However, as today is patch of v0.17.3. So yeah, basically the next patch got kind of pushed back and delayed, so we're getting this one type of deal. With such a big patch on the horizon, this update is admittedly a smidge smaller than it's just like, dude, it's like light talk to explain how things got delayed, and I just would rather them just be like, yo, patch got delayed, here's what we got for y'all while we wait for that. Skin variants. As we build up to bigger and more extensive collection of skins with each hero, we're excited to share that this update brings with it a new feature for skins variants. Pretty cool, not gonna lie. I don't like the other color. I think that this one actually looks pretty good. Cobalt Shogun Wraith variant. Skin variants are exactly what they sound like, alternate versions of a skin with some subtle changes such as color tweaks or light texture changes. Not all skins will be getting variants, and to start with, we're only releasing them in this update's bundles just while we're getting things set up and rolling. But rest assured, we're excited to expand this concept as time goes on. So how do you know if a bundle contains a fancy new skin variant? Simply look for the rainbow circle at the top right corner of the bundle image. So that's cool. I think that this is a good thing to do. It's like a nice way to take skins and like stretch their value a little bit. I'm assuming you have to pay more if you're getting the variant, but in general, it's like reusing work, which I think that is smart for them, if that makes sense. And that would be cool, right? Like I think it's smart for them to be able to reuse some of the work that they've already done, right? Yeah, that's good. So yeah, on to the next one. New skins. We got Rogue Kalari and Rogue Sparrow. It's also going to be coming out in a bundle. We'll take a look at these really quickly. This looks sick. This is like the Kalari skin that I've seen in a bunch of artwork. I don't really have much of a tie to it in the past, but I think that this looks really sick, obviously. Really, really good. I will probably buy this. Rogue Sparrow, pretty cool too. Pretty cool. Can't complain. And then SHINBI Cyber Operative. Probably one of the best skins that's come out in the game. I'm assuming this is a Paragon asset. I just, at this point, I have to say, like, I assume everything's a Paragon asset because I don't really ever know what isn't. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I have no problem with it being a Paragon asset. It's cool. It's a pretty big deviation from what she normally looks like. I think it's awesome. I would also personally love for there to be a yellow variant of this. Yellow is my favorite. She has a yellow variant of like one of her skins, her base skin. So personally, if I could get a variant of this and make it yellow, that would be really cool. I also think it could be an interesting opportunity for them to like maybe some skin lines. This is a super random thought. Maybe some skin lines could have like a hue slider, and you could just pick what color you want it to be. That could be interesting. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. That would take some work for them because that's essentially them making like a bunch of variants, but like realistically speaking, like taking this skin and changing the skin internally is like not crazy. This is original? Oh, really? Nice. That's awesome. If this is an original, I love it. More of this. Way more of this. Cool. Yeah, give me that. I like that. Again, I really like this. I think it's a nice deviation from what the character usually looks like in general, which is like a big sell to me. She's got some like, she's like still in SHINBI style, but she's like armored up and it's like futuristic. I think this is a super, super nice skin. So whether it was a Paragon asset or not, I was looking forward to it. Again, I just want it to be yellow. So let me have a hue slider. I think that'd be really cool. Bundles are cool. You know, pretty simple concept in terms of adding the bundles. So you get the skin and then you get the spray. Again, I think that, you know what, this would get a little bit more mileage if we had like a spray wheel. We don't have a spray wheel. That's definitely something they'll have to do in the future. But yeah, some kind of a spray wheel where we could put more than one spray on, so we can, like, you know, like I said, just get a little bit more mileage out of this kind of content would be cool. And then they have like the Rogue Mega bundle, which is cool. I'm not really paying attention to the cost because I don't really plan to buy it personally, so definitely take a look at it. And you can also even see, like, it's got the little rainbow icon, so that's what we're looking for whenever it comes to variants. I'm assuming. What, are these varianted? Are they? Yeah, I wonder why the rainbow's here. Maybe they're varianted. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I thought that was kind of the goal, was the rainbow was for variants. I don't know. So we got the Shogun Wraith bundle. It's got the little rainbow. So variant skin. And again, I like this one because I like this color palette way more. Way more. I like this color palette. I mean, blue and yellow are my two favorite colors, so probably why. And then it says new feature tab. Looking for the best deals. Don't want to miss out on the latest timed exclusive skin variants. Introducing the new featured tab. Is this cool? Yeah, it's just like their way of like managing the shop and like making it more current, which I think is like nice. Yeah, that's good. It's good for the game because it's like it's a better way for them to show off the paid content that like would be more timely and relevant. So that's solid, right? Solid. So I think that this looks good. I don't really mind their shop. I think that, like, I wonder if this is too big. I saw some complaints about that at one point, but it's honestly fine. Like, I don't mind it at all. Hero balance changes straight into the meat and potatoes. All right, Argus. I'm probably not going to read the notes, maybe, unless it's particularly interesting. Damage multiplier decreased from 40% to 35% for his disintegrate. Cool. Argus still feels pretty strong. I don't think this is going to crush him or anything. Gideon, black hole magical power scaling decreased from 315 to 288. That's a pretty considerable nerf to the ultimate. I'll actually read this one. With the previous quality of life changes to Gideon's ultimate providing it greater responsiveness on initial cast, the reliability of the damage output was increased. Due to this, black hole is receiving a hit to its scaling. Ensure its damage is not overbearing in later game team fights. Yeah, I mean, Gideon is like, he's the best mid, probably tied with, you know, one other. He's solid. I think that feels like a big hit, but he's like really impactful and really safe, and we'll see what that feels like, right? Grimmix EXE is still finding his feet amongst the roster, despite his general damage output matching up well to the rest of the roster. The general immobility leaves him extremely vulnerable to a range of threats. To help mitigate some of these general weaknesses, Grim is receiving an increase to their movement speed and early game damage durability, as well as seeing the window of defense provided by Deflector Shield extended alongside the GTFO may now be targeted while in the air, further improving the responsiveness. Oh, that sounds nice. That sounds like a really nice quality of life update. So general movement speed, I mean, these are probably going to put him in a pretty decent spot. He feels pretty useless. This should help at least a little bit. We'll see. I mean, I also think that he definitely feels like a scaling kind of a carry to begin with. So I think in general, he will probably either almost always feel incredibly overpowered or useless. Will he actually be useless? No, probably not. I think that if they can put him in a good spot competitively, he might see some play. Otherwise, he'll be super broken. Like, they're either going to make him really, really broken, or he'll feel like he's on the weaker end, but might actually be pretty decent competitively. So movement speed increased 645 to 655, health increased from 610 to 625, health growth increased from 98 to 100, physical armor increased. Yeah, so this is all nice, like nice little buffs to him. Displacement blast primary is going up a little bit in damage. Bonus physical power scaling increased. Normal mode projectile speed decreased by 5%. And then deflector shield cooldown decreased by, you know, a couple seconds at all levels is not bad. And then duration increased from 1 to 1.5. That's it. I mean, that's a considerable buff there as well. And then ultimate can now be cast in the air. I think that's quality of life is huge. So that feels really good for Grim. We'll see what he feels like after this. Let's look at Grux. Grux potency in the early stages of match continues to allow him to bully out a variety of matchups from minute 1 with little room for counterplay. Due to this, his double pain is seeing a reduction in damage to ensure his early trades are more in line with other heroes. Double pain alternate damage decreased from 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 to 10, 30, 50, 70, 90. This is an interesting change to me because Grux is a unique character that I almost never feel is like actually broken or out of control, but I think that people just are trying to like 1v1 Grux, and he's like one of the best 1v1ers in the game, and then they lose to him, and then they go on Reddit and they complain about how broken he is. And so like there should be some heroes that like dominate a lane if not checked by the jungler, right? Like that's just a thing, right? Like you have a hero that will early kind of dominate everybody if he's not checked by the jungler, and like yes, that doesn't leave much room for counterplay in the lane, but like that should be fine because it is a team game. And so I feel like a change like this feels like a change to make the 1v1 like a 1v1, and like it ignores the fact that like there are other people to mitigate this this issue, right, so to speak. So we'll see, because this could accidentally put him in a position where it's like, well, why would I play him if I could just play somebody else, right? So I don't think it's going to be that drastic, but I think changes like this are like not the best because of that, but we'll see. Iggy and Scorch. Flame turrets struggle to feel relevant enough in many scenarios due to their lower damage output to reinforce their existence as a viable asset for Iggy to place and protect. We're further increasing their damage while making them more accessible in the early game with a reduced mana cost, better allowing him to push up his turret line with multiple placements. I think this is good, right? I think that the turret hero feeling like a Molotov hero is probably going to feel a little bit better as like a turret hero. So primary damage increased from 12, 19, 26, 33, 40 to 12, 20, 28, 36, 44. Magic power scaling increased from 18% to 20%. Mana cost decreased from 50 to 40. That sounds nice. I think that sounds really nice for Iggy. Could be even interesting to see if there's like a play style where you max the turrets, right? Who knows? We'll see. Chimera's dominance in the early skirmishes is exacerbated by the general output ability to clear the jungle at a reasonable pace. We're slowing his pace down by reducing the damage of his Unleash ability, as well as giving him less uptime on his ultimate, making his gank windows less frequent. I don't know if this is how I would have hit him. And this could kill his viability a little bit, but I don't think it will, but it could. Total physical power scaling decreased from 45% to 40% on his Unleash, and then Cole is increased, the ultimate increase cooldown from 110, 85, 60 to 120, 90, 60. I don't think that's going to feel that bad. That's a 10-second difference on ult. Like, that's not going to feel that bad at all. That'll actually probably make almost no difference. This could hurt. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think if anything, this is going to like be a tiny slap on the wrist for Kai. This should be fine. This should be fine. I don't know that that's how I would have nerfed him, though, to be honest. I probably would have nerfed his like early game efficacy of like health regeneration, but that's just me, because I think like it's the fact that he can basically 1v1 trade anybody for free that's like an issue from the healing. But I mean, nerfing his damage early is fine too, right? So I guess we'll see how that plays out. Morgash. While she exists in a scaling threat, Morgash struggles to keep pace in the wave clear department compared to other mages, can find it difficult to secure a foothold in a match. To bring her in closer parity with others, she's getting a little extra uptime on her Hive, better allowing her to poke and push in lane. So Hive primary, magical power scaling increased from 65 to 70%, cooldown decreased from 13, 12, 11, 10, 9 to 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. This hero is an interesting one because she's kind of another example, or she is an example of a hero that's just like fundamentally broken. Like her kit design is just terrible. So if you buff this hero too much, she becomes incredibly oppressive and will ruin the game. And if you leave her broken if you leave her like crap for too long, people will complain about it. So it's like you want to give her baby nerfs, but you can't actually do anything to her until you entirely rework her. And that'll probably happen like way later in the future. We know that they've kind of committed to saying that they're going to go back and look at hero kits, but it's like not a priority, right? Like her being in the game is more of a priority in her current state, like kind of not great, than it is to like put a lot of resources into fixing her. So like focus on new characters, focus on new content, come back to her later. But giving her like a little bit of love, it'll be nice, but I don't think this will fundamentally do anything for her, right? I think the other mids will still just like completely hold priority over her, and this will not make it will not make a lick of difference. If anything, it's like a solo queue buff, right? Narbash healing potency and uptime can leave him feeling unmovable, often undoing a significant amount of the damage dealt to his team in team fights and making his team difficult to interact with. Some adjustments to his mana growth and healing output are needed to ensure his healing capabilities are a little less dominating. I haven't read them yet, but this is probably warranted. Mana growth decreased from 60 to 50. That's quite a bit. Song of My People secondary magic power scaling decreased from 9% to 8%. That's a lot of mana growth decreased. We'll see what that feels like. It's probably not going to kill him. He's just not going to be a perma healer, like a crazy healer, but that's probably fair. It's probably fair. Narbash is kind of, he's been kind of nuts. He made a really big showing and statement for his viability and level of play in PCC. All right, Revenant's ability to deal damage through seemingly high, though seemingly high, is often hindered by in the later stages of a match. His abilities begin to lose relevance. By increasing the uptime of his Obliterate and offering more damage amplification from his Scar, Revenant will have more reliant frequent options to pick from in engagements, whether that's cheating his reload or well-timed Obliterate, or Scar offering a greater damage amp. That sounds cool. I like that you can do that. You can use his ability to kind of like time the reload properly. And then if you have more uptime on that, it kind of like raises the skill ceiling a little bit and then gives them a little bit more potency. So cooldown decrease of Obliterate from 14, 13, 12, 11, 10 to 14, 12.5, 11, 9.5, 8. And then, oh my god, 8. That's actually pretty fast, especially if you build like any kind of haste on him. I don't know if anybody will, but like, I don't know, maybe an Infernum pen kind of haste, you know what I mean? Who knows? Scar, damage amplification on hit increase from 10% to 12%. We'll see. That could bring him in line a little bit, where I think that Revenant can be played in certain types of comps. I've had an idea for Revenant for a little while. Maybe that'll come out at some point. SHINBI has traditionally been mana gated in the early stages of match to encourage her to interact more frequently at melee range rather than sitting back and relying on line tempo. However, this tends to leave her feeling forced to invest in mana item, shifting her build options. We're undoing this slightly by offering her further mana growth and shield scaling as a match progresses, better allowing her to opt into power heavier itemization if she chooses. So mana decrease from 3090. Mana decrease from 3090 to 3070. Oh, mana growth increase from 30 to 36. And circle rhythm damage magical power scaling increase from 22% to 25%. Nice. SHINBI buffs. That's cool. I'm down. Yeah, we'll see what that feels like for off lane, and then for jungle, it's gonna like, that's just like a net buff, more or less. I mean, so we'll see what that feels like. Much like Morghast, the Fae is receiving adjustments to her Bramble patch aimed at granting her more utility, uptime, and burst threat in mid-game skirmishes if she chooses to invest in skill points into the ability. So Bramble patch primary damage increase from 90, 125, 160, 195, 230 to 90, 130, 170, 210, 250, and then cooldown decrease from 12, 11.5, 11, 10.5, 10 to 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. I'm going to be honest. I feel bad admitting this. I don't remember what Bramble patch is on her. I have like 7 games of Fae played. This could be an impactful change. This could do nothing. I'm not the person to ask. I'm sorry. No fucking clue what this means. I have no fucking clue what this means for Fae. I just forget which one that is. All of her moves look the same. I don't remember. Zarus' previous adjustments to Coliseum cooldown has seen him ascend to the ranks of the jungle role, especially due to how frequently he could commit to cage gank. We're pulling this back to provide laners. Yes, this is probably a really good change. Between his ganks while giving his early clear speed a slight bump as compensation. Physical power increase from 54 to 56, and then Coliseum ultimate cooldown. This is a really good change for him. It's her slow? Okay, cool. Cool, because yeah, I didn't really know, to be completely honest, and it was kind of hard for me to make any assumptions. This is good. Yeah, his cage is always up. You just Roman gank, Roman cage. So that'll feel nice to pull that cooldown back a little bit, like 15 seconds. I don't think it's huge. So this, slightly less frequent ganks, but a little bit more physical power. So yeah, we'll see what that feels like. It may actually just be like a tiny buff if timed well. Item balance changes. Omen contributes to excessive burst and errors in the case of heroes such as Fang Mao. It's like only Fang Mao. That's the funny thing. Due to item cooldown refund mechanic, it's being reduced to ensure the cadence at which its user's cast ability is not overly abnormal and more readable for those on the receiving end. So cooldown reduction 2 seconds down to 1.5. Yeah, this is literally just a Fang Mao nerf. That's probably why they didn't touch him. Not that he's like super broken or anything, but like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a pretty big nerf for Fang Mao. To some degree. Crystal Tear provides far too much mana regeneration as a standalone item, often resolving all of its wielder's mana issues on purchase without needing further investment in the stat. As such, it's losing some effectiveness. I don't really ever have opinions about support itemization. I barely even know what the items do, but if you say so, I probably agree, and we'll see how support players adjust to that, right? Jungle balance change. It's a bug fix on Mini Prime. Health increase from 4,800 plus 400 per level to 5,200 plus 500 per level. So the previous changes to Mini Prime's durability to slightly offset increased kill speed from the removal of damage reduction debuff was not implemented correctly, while its health remaining in its old values has been resolved. Okay, so Mini Prime's a little bit harder to kill, and then we got a plethora of bug fixes, which I am quite simply too lazy to read, if I'm being honest. Some of them are probably important. I can see some things that might would be important, but I just can't be bothered to read them, to be completely honest. So I think there's some decent changes in here, and that's cool. I think there's some things that could feel like they could bump a little bit of characters and like pull Kai down a little bit. I think that's probably good. We'll see if this does much to him. I don't really feel like it's going to do a ton to him, but it'll help a little bit. I think this Grux change is like probably a little misguided, but it's fine. But all in all, this patch is just a baby patch, right? Little tiny baby patch. a bit of a kick the can down the road, but we got some new things, right? Like skin variants, I think is a good idea. I wasn't expecting this, so that's cool. And then we got a new skin line and an original, and this skin is very, very good. So I feel like they definitely threw this one in because they were like, a little patch, like throw some skins at it kind of deal. But yeah, they're trickling content in and things are moving along. I think it's a little unfortunate that we're like waiting for some of the bigger things, because some of those bigger things are going to be like really, really good to get in the game and get settled, right? Like 6-item patch, get that in the game, get us learning the new items, get us building. Casual game mode, get that in the game, get people playing casually, enjoying and learning the game in that way. Ranked mode, get people playing, get people, grinding, and then have that kind of being tested on the weekends and getting some good feedback from it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think that, it's a fine patch, right? It's nothing to go crazy about. It's a bit of a snooze fest, but it's also like kind of cool. You know what I want, like personally, I know it's not like it would be more of like a blog post, but like I want some like updates on things, right? Like that's personally where I'm at. Like when I see like any kind of official posting from them, I think I'm like, I know that this is much more literal to what they're delivering. I'm really like curious about some updates to things. Like we haven't heard any updates on like Amber and like the Amber system. We haven't heard much updates on like, yeah, I guess I was going to say Affinity, but that's like also like the Amber system, like the Amber currency, like, like more content in the way of unlocking things with Amber, and like the plans with Amber is kind of a big one for me. I guess that's like, yeah, I guess that's what I'm looking for. I guess I'm looking for that. So friends, drop a like on the video, subscribe for future Predecessor content. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think? Yeah, as always, be sure to be kind of loyal. Tell somebody you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.